think that's Super Mario World. Pretty sure. I'm relatively sure that's the Super Mario World. No, it's Super Mario Brothers 2. Took me a minute. Super Mario Brothers 2 is where that music's from, which is actually probably my favorite Mario Brothers game. I'm sure there are people who think that's nuts. Oh no, I hit the auto find. No, don't auto find. Don't auto find. Okay, good. It didn't. I was gonna say, don't just start everything. I don't need 18 versions of this thing starting up. Did it start? Where is it? So I said select live source. Activate. Where is it? Oh, whatever. It's supposedly there, but I don't... That's strange. Why is it not showing up? This thing. Oh, did it just lock up? Oh, it just locked up entirely. Okay, well that at least explains it. Let me restart Social Stream because it's not working. That's fine. I just didn't know why I didn't see a window. That's okay. I don't mind when things don't work. I'd rather something not work. Oh, I just hit my keyboard. It doesn't matter. I'd rather something not work at the beginning as opposed to just stopping working when I'm in the middle of something. So if what we're going to do here is fail up front, I'm okay with that. I really am. That is all right with me. That gives me, an indicator that there's something going on, and I can handle that. That's okay. So that to me is not a problem. All right, let's try it again. I think it's because I hit the auto find button. Yeah, that's what it did. It went to the wrong one. That's okay. There it is. Yep, that was it. See, that's not a big deal. All right, that is okay with me. It really is. Like, I'm not going to get upset about that. All right, maybe this here. This is good, so we can put that right there. We'll open that window up. Ah, yes. We'll be working on a horse today. A horse! A cyber horse. Okay. So let's hit the button there, and then that should be working. Let's unmute just so I can hear it. So we'll say test 1. Hey, there it is. And we'll say test. This has been better overall. So now we have test 1, test 2. That's great. So I can go ahead and shrink that down, and shrink that down, and shrink that down, because I should not need those anymore. And then the only thing I have to... Social Stream is good. I don't actually have to do anything with that. Whoa, what is... Oh, I see what that was. Okay, I don't know what I was looking at for a minute. There was a thing on my screen. I couldn't tell what it was for a second. Then I figured it out. I'm like, oh, I see what that is. All right, so we just need to make sure that this shows up. And it does. And okay, we're good. Let's go ahead and roll our opening. Boop. And we'll close this. And then you should see a horse while I get a drink of water really quick. So hold on a minute. There it is. We have a horse. Excellent. Horse is a horse, of course. Nobody who's any type of young will know what that is. That's fine. It's okay. All right, so what we have here is the cybernetic horse that's going to go along for the electric rodeo revival image I'm working on. So I had an idea to try to make this hair in the back. I don't know. I thought of making it... I may still do a thing where there'll be big parts of it coming out that are shooting sparks, but I don't know if that's actually going to look good. So what I'm going to focus on right now, you can see I've kind of got some of the muscles laid out, and that's where some of the kind of cyber joints are. I will probably be revamping those. For example, I don't like that one there. This one, I don't like that. In fact, I'm just going to get rid of that now because I really don't like it. Even though it is accurate to where the horse's muscles are, I just don't think it looks particularly good. And between realism and something looking good, I'm going with something looking good being the more important metric there. Is that the right? That is the right weight for that. So for example, I'd rather have this like that. instead of it being accurate. That looks better to me than the accurate muscle. Now I can kind of echo it by doing that and have it join up there. That might work. There are probably ways to make this work, but honestly, you know, it's a cybernetic horse. I don't know how much I have to worry about accuracy. I really don't. I don't think that's a real priority with this. In fact, I can already see I don't like this line at all. At least, I shouldn't say at all. I don't like it like that. What I want to do is I want to have it more aligned with the shape of this part. So we'll have that come up like that. And then this can bend down and come back up where it was. That's better. See, it looks better. Those joints look better than they did. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to be focusing on the hair tonight because honestly, that's the part that's going to take the longest. So we're really going to drill in on that. So let's get that background image back. And yeah, I think what I'm going to do, just to give you a rough idea, is I'm going to have the same type of hair for probably that amount of it. And then I might try to have like something coming out here that might be fire, might have fire or something on these bigger strands. I don't know. I'm gonna run that by Doug, who this is the art I'm doing for. I'm gonna run that by him because I just don't know if that's quite what he wants. So I know he likes this type of hair with, you know, I'm gonna go in and this is all gonna get like segmented, just kind of like the same as the cowboy is. So it'll all look the way it should. But I think, like I said, I think for, in fact, let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's get a pencil. And what I'm going to do is the wire hair is going to be like that, I think. That much of that. Yeah. And then, is this an empty layer? Yes, it is. Good. So that's what we're going to be focusing on for this stream. I don't expect to get much done because this takes a lot. You'll see there's a lot involved in all these little hair strands. So let's get going here. All right, so we just want to have this stuff coming out like this. And I'm on a different layer, so it's okay that those are crossing over. But this is one of those things that just takes time. There's no way around it. You know, unless you're going to use a pre-made brush, which you can. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. It's just not what I do. So when you don't do that, there's really no way around the fact that these things are going to take time. They just are something that you have to do. I don't like that at all. I need to make that much smoother. So it actually looks like it's the same image and isn't something that's pasted on. But yeah, this is the only way to do it for me. So while there are doubtless brushes that would make this a lot simpler, I don't use those. I do this all just individually because I often change my mind on how I want something to be as I'm doing it. Perfect example is this hair, this part right here. See, I have these ones that are kind of over and under. In fact, there's one that, I messed that one up. Hold on, I gotta go fix that. I can't believe I missed that. Ah, man. See, this is why I don't usually combine layers. Hold on a minute. Or at least not till I'm really sure, because then I gotta come in and fix stuff like this. That just does not look good. And I did too much there. Hold on. I should have checked this before I combine these layers. Okay. Luckily, it's not too bad. I think that's the only instance of it, but I always end up missing something. See, now that doesn't look right to me. So what I need to do is come back into it with a lighter thing just to smooth out those edges, make it look more organic. Not organic like it's not metal, but organic as in I didn't make a huge screw up there. All right, that's better. Yeah, you're not gonna, once it's all done, you won't see that, so that's okay. All right, anyway. Jeez. Every time, everybody, every single time, do I end up realizing, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But, you know, there we are. Okay. That's all right. one of the things I said with these streams when I started is I'm not gonna just do the you know, there's people who do streams and what they're doing is kind of the perfect version of their images. And by the way, this is not a criticism. Everybody does the stream they want to do. But I knew right away I wasn't going to do one that was hiding the dumb things. Wow, God, that line is just way too thick. The dumb things I do on a regular basis. Because I do think it's valuable for people to, okay, that could be a little thicker than that. I think it is valuable for people to see the effort. I think the danger in only showing the kind of smooth version of creation is it makes everybody think it's just easy and everybody can just do it and there's nothing to it. It takes away the effort. And look, there are people for whom, if I want to use correct grammar, I guess, there are absolutely individuals that do this stuff effortlessly. Boy, do I envy them, because I am not one of them. So, for me, the only way for this to be an honest stream, I don't want to say authentic. I'm so sick of that word. Everything's authentic. This is, I'm being authentic with everybody. It's not a word I like using. So the only way for me, for this to be an honest reflection of what I do is to just show all the warts. And also, I think it's a good thing so that people understand that I do art slowly, not because I'm just being slow about it, but because I make so many mistakes. You know, it's just how it goes. And that's okay. I don't think it's bad. Boy, I am really thirsty. I think I put too much salt on my dinner. Hold on. Because I'm usually not this thirsty. But I will say, the last couple weeks, this is purely a personal goal for me. The last couple weeks, I have been doing really well on my calories. I've been making a real effort at not starving myself. I don't think that's healthy. But just keeping an eye on the amount of calories I'm bringing in and trying to just trying to go, I think last week was the first week in a long time where I came in under my weekly calorie goal. And I will say I've lost a little weight since the month before, and I think it's because I'm really paying attention to these numbers now. Like I said, I'm not starving myself. That is not healthy. Don't do that. You should not starve yourself. But I do think being aware of what you're eating and kind of just keeping an eye on it is not a bad thing. It's kind of the Weight Watchers model. That's pretty much... Oh, my left eye is itching me fiercely. Oh, boy. It's sort of what they do with Weight Watchers, if you've never seen that. I've never been part of Weight Watchers, but I understand the idea. It's points. You know, it's a way of kind of just keeping track of what you're putting into your body. And I am by no means a health nut. I can't even pretend I am. I mean, not even a little bit. But I am aware of the... Oh, wait. Yeah, okay, that's okay. I was on the eraser. That's what I wanted to be. I am aware of the fact that as I am getting older, and I am getting older, there's no way around it. Anybody who's alive, if you live for a while, you're going to get older. It's just how it works. It gets tougher to take weight off without, you know, slamming the gym all the time, which I'm never going to do. So my only way of doing that is to keep an eye on, is do portion control. Which is, you know, anybody who knows anything about nutrition will tell you that's just as important in many cases as exercise. The combination is ideal. That's the best. That's where people really lose the most weight. Diet and exercise. Cutting down on calories, eating smart, and exercising. Well, that's how you'll do it the quickest. But if you're somebody like me who finds the word gym to be a thing to be avoided, not something to embrace, like my wife has, which I'm very happy for her because she's in great shape and she's having a lot of fun being at the gym. She's teaching a class right now as we speak. And that's great because she really enjoys that social aspect of it because she's a much more social person than I am. So I'm happy, very, very happy she found that and she likes it. But for me, No. No, I tried it. I tried the gym for a little bit. Hated it. Knew I would. I was pretty sure. I didn't know for sure, but I was pretty sure it wasn't going to be for me, and it wasn't. So for someone like me, who's not interested in going to the gym, you have to make an adjustment somewhere. Although I will also say that just because of some of the nature of what I've been doing for work lately, I've been having a lot of high calorie, high step days where I've been exceeding 10,000 steps. I think I had 15,000 yesterday. I have, let's see, what do I have today? Let's take a quick look, shall we? Because like most people, my phone tracks my fitness stuff, so it keeps an eye on steps here. Let's see, what's today? I know I didn't hit 15 today. I wasn't that far. Let's take a quick look. So if I go into my little Lose It app here, which is what I use to track my stuff, I am currently at 11,600 steps. Not bad. So I've had a number of those days too. That has helped because, that does... And it's not, those are legitimate steps. That isn't like me gaming the app or something like that. I've had to do a lot of walking in the last... last week or so. So I've definitely had some high calorie burning days compared to usual. Which, like I said, that's great because that allows me to more easily hit my calorie goal because I get a little bit of a bonus on that, a little burn off. Not much. I think it's 100, 200 calories, something like that. But you know what? It's not nothing. So I'm happy about it. It wasn't something I planned on. It's just like I said, the nature of work in the last week or so has just required me to be walking back. And I mean, I could drive or I could, we have these carts at work that a lot of people use. But honestly, I think it's a byproduct of having grown up in New York. And especially like New York City, people don't use cars a lot. Well, okay, some people do. But a lot of people, and I was one of them, I just like to walk everywhere. I just got used to it. Or the subway, but there's not subways at my job. Therefore, I can't, I can't take the C train across work. You know what I mean? Doesn't work that way. It's just not, that's not something that can happen. So I fall back on my old way of doing things, which is to walk. And I just like walking places. They do have e-bikes. That's an option. But it's funny, actually, today. I was walking somewhere, and I saw somebody on an e-bike. And when I say e-bike, it's one of the ones where it's got the assistive thing, but you can pedal to. I guess the hybrid bike. I don't know I think it's just called an e-bike. I don't know. Anyway, I watched this person clearly did not know how much to brake and went straight into a door. Luckily, it was a glass door, too, but luckily did not break the door, but hit it pretty hard. And I went, yeah, you know what? I don't know if I trust those things. Because, I don't know. I just thought it's not something I really would rely on. But yeah, it was funny because I'm just looking at this person coming along and I'm thinking, boy, they're going really fast. They're going really fast for going into a doorway. And sure enough, bang, right into the glass door. Like I said, not enough to... They didn't fall off the bike or anything. The glass door did not break because I thought, wow, the way they hit it, I was expecting to see a crack. I kind of walked by it. No, it was fine. But I just found that funny because I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I don't know if that's something I need to... I'm fine walking. I'm fine with that. It gives me a nice calorie thing that looks terrible. Fix that. So I'll just go ahead and stick with that. I have to be a little bit careful with it because my right knee, if I do too much of that, if I don't remember to sit down often enough, then my right knee will start to... The back of it starts to get a little sore and like tighten up on me. But I just keep that in mind and it's generally fine, so it's not a big deal. Outside of that, I enjoy it. I mean, it's going to start getting warmer, so I'll enjoy it less once it's actually hot, which unfortunately is starting earlier and earlier all the time. It's currently, let's see, 80 what? 81, April 21st, and it's 81. Ridiculous. But outside of that, I'm not really going to complain. So it's still nice stuff. And there's been lately a breeze, which has really cut down on the heat. All right, that looks terrible. That line just started to fatten up, and then it slimmed down, and you can't have it both ways. Doesn't look good when it's both ways. You gotta just pick one or the other. So we're gonna go with the slimmer version. And there we are. And I'll be honest, this will probably be a shorter stream because while I know I have to do all these hairs, and I'm going to, I would be lying if I said it was the most fun thing to do. What did I do there? Oh, no. Hold on, sorry, I just saw that. That nose thing can't stay like that. But you know what I think I'm actually going to do in that case is I think I'm going to get rid of the thick line. I think I'm going to get rid of this. I actually think I like the kind of circle. Makes more sense to me than that. So we're going to go with that. Yeah, I like that. Okay, just checking. I'm going to figure out, because I want to make the horse shiny, so the shadow lines are going to be really interesting, because I think I'm going to do like severe, like that, you know, like shiny metal lines. So I'm going to try to do that for that. Instead of just using the color, I'm going to have some like harsh black in there. I think I gotta see if that's going to work. I mean, I'm saying that now. We'll see what happens when I actually get to that point and see if it doesn't. If I don't decide it looks terrible, which I might. I've done that before. I might do it again. Who knows? Have this great idea, get to actually doing it, and think, ooh, no, I don't like that. But I think I can. If I do that, it'll be a good contrast to the cowboy robot instead of just repeating the same coloring pattern. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not there yet, so I'm not worrying about it yet. But yeah, it's been warm, and fortunately, there has been enough of a breeze in the last few days that it hasn't been too bad. But today the breeze was pretty light, and so out in the sun, I was noticing it. I was like, yeah, it's a little warm out here. A little bit. And, yeah. Like I said, we're not even at the end. I mean, we're in the later part of April. But we're not done. Oh, I heard a thing go off. Hey, Timber Dragon. How are you? Why am I not seeing the, why does the window not appear? Did I accidentally get rid of it? I can see it. Oh, I see where it went. Why did it go there? Hold on. Wow, it positioned itself. Okay, it's just in a weird place on my screen for some reason. But all right, I see it. Okay. Hello, happy Monday. Hope you're doing well. Okay, where am I here? On the right layer, yes. Okay, just making sure I don't lose myself in a layer here. So yeah, we'll see what it's like tomorrow. We'll see. Around. Okay. Cut that off. Yep. Okay. Like I said, I don't know if it comes across on the video necessarily. I'm good. I'm doing well. So far, so good. For a Monday, which a lot of people do not like Mondays, I have no complaints on this particular Monday. It has been fine. A little warmer than I would like, but that's about my only complaint. So, if that's my only complaint, it's not much of anything to complain about. So, I would say that overall, things are fine. I'm actually running our sprinklers for the first time in a while. Hopefully they're all working. I'll check after they're done and make sure they're all working, because inevitably every year one or two of them breaks. It's just how it goes. I'll tell you what I am is thirsty. Like I said, I put too much salt, clearly, in my dinner, because I'm generally not this thirsty when I do a stream. I might have a sip or two of water here, but I'm usually not this actively thirsty, so that is generally, I mean, just normally I'm not all that thirsty. I know I don't drink as much water as I should, but I'm usually not thirsty where I'm like actively thirsty, and I am, so that's clearly salt. It's Part of a big mandatory school trip. Hey, that's fun. Going someplace interesting? Well, mandatory. Interesting. I don't know if mandatory school trips are necessarily a plus or a minus. It depends. Normally when you're going somewhere fun, it's not mandatory. But I could be wrong. School trips. I'm trying to remember where we went for school trips. Actually, I didn't. We went. One of our mandatory school trips was Washington, D.C. when I was younger. I remember that. And that was fun. I liked Washington. You know, it was... Lincoln Memorial was really neat. The Washington Monument was really neat. You know, the stuff that we saw was interesting. I mean, I'm not a big history person. I'm not a history buff or anything like that. But to see... I always like big sculptures, and there's a lot of that. You know, like the reflecting pool. I think that's what it's called, the reflecting pool that's in front of the Washington Monument. That's awesome to look at. So it was a neat trip. I think it was similar. I think it was... Oh, I lost the idea. I had it up till that point. Hold on. I think it was 3 or 4 days. Something like that. I seem to remember. I mean, it took a day to get there. So I don't think we really did anything the first day, because it took about a day to get there. Because we went on a bus, so I mean, it's not particularly quick. I actually know what the drive from New York to Washington is, but it would have to be. Well, let's take a look. Hold on. I'll tell you. Let's have a look, shall we? Tomorrow, 82 degrees. That's fine. I understand. Well, as long as you're excited, that's the important part. So if you're excited to go, that's what matters. Because like I said, mandatory trips can be, you know, can be good or bad. Let's see how far it is. So to drive from, so for about a 5-hour drive, it would be from where I went to high school. So, you know, with a bus and everything, yeah, that makes sense. Because we left probably at like 9, 10 in the morning, figure 5, 6 hours, maybe a little more with traffic, because once you get to Washington, there's a lot of traffic. So yeah, by the time we got there, there wasn't really much you could do. You know, just get into the hotel and get set up and that type of thing. I'm drawing a cybernetic horse, even though right now it just kind of looks like a horse with lines on it. It will eventually be a robo horse. So I'm just doing the hair. Each hair is going to be a strand of wire, except for the back ones, maybe those big pieces back there. Those I got to figure out. I may attempt to do like pipes that are shooting fire. I have not made a concrete decision on that yet. This is for a friend of mine for an album that he's got coming out in the fall. So I'm actually gonna talk to him tomorrow, and I'll say, hey, I've got this idea of having the hair shooting fire. Is that something you like? Because I want to make sure it's aligning with what he wants. Yeah, it's coming out okay. The cowboy came out good. So the horse is, you know, I don't draw a lot of animals, but I really like the pose of the horse, the head here. So I think that's going to work out well. Making it into a robot, that's going to be... I have never drawn a robotic horse before. So that'll be a new thing. We'll see how it goes. And then the shadow lines will be... Again, it's just something I haven't done very often, so we'll see how it all works out. But I don't hate it so far. And that's a good place to start from. It's always good when you start out with something and you don't hate it initially. I have had drawings I've done where I did not like them right away. And in almost every case I can think of, I stopped right there and said, don't keep going. If you don't like it from the beginning, don't keep doing it. You should be enthusiastic about what you're drawing. And if you're not, then there's a reason for that. Most of the time. I'm not going to say that's a permanent rule. There are exceptions. I think a few times over many, many years, I've kind of gone away from something, come back, and usually, though, the reason that it worked out is because I thought of a completely different way to do it. Not because I kept doing what I was doing, but because I thought of a completely different angle to approach it from. So, you know. The profile. Oh, the little skull thing? Yeah, I drew that. Yep. Yep, I did draw that. I think that's what you're talking about, right? Hold on. Boy, that thing is being weird tonight. You mean, if I replay this, the skull in the center of this? That? Because if you mean that, yes, I did. I don't think there's not... Is there another profile picture? Yeah, no, I think that's it. I think it's the only one. I've done a few over the years, but that's the one I like the best, and that's the current one. So I'm assuming that's what you mean. Although any profile picture I've had, I think I've drawn. There's only one for a while that I had that was me as a really, really small kid. That one I didn't. That was just a picture of me from when I was really little, but I haven't used that in quite a while, so I don't think that's what you mean. I think you mean the skull. And yeah, that's actually, so that skull originally... I don't think I have a picture of it on the iPad. I don't think. I don't know if I have it anywhere. That skull was originally... I actually have the physical... let's see. My profile picture was not made. Oh, that's okay. You don't have to. If you can make your profile picture, that's great. If you can't, though... I've drawn profile pictures for other people. That's okay. But that skull was originally a carved out... There's this, oh, I don't know what they call it. In art school, they had this, I don't know, it's a piece of board, but the board is black, so it's been painted black with black ink. And you take like a carving tool, or there's two ways. You can do the carving of it, where you're actually carving out the grooves of it. I think I have a name for that, but I don't remember what it is. But this one was called, I called it ink scratching, where you scratch the black ink off, and underneath is white, so it's reversed. So I actually, the original image is sitting behind me. I mean, you can't see it. I'm pointing to it. But this is from, man, that had to be, was that high school or was that college? I don't remember. But I had that, and I scanned it a long time ago because I always liked it. And then I went over it digitally, and I fixed errors with it. Like, there were things about it I didn't like. I cleaned up some of the lines. And so that's, the skull itself, everything else was brand new. But that is actually one of the oldest images I have, interestingly. So, yeah, I like that one. I always liked it because it's one of the few times, one of the early times that I did like a negative. You know what I'm going to do? Hold on, let me drop this way down so I can see this better. There we go. It was one of the first negative, which is my term for it, negative images I did where it's black that I was carving or scratching the white. I think it's called scratchboard. I think it is called scratchboard. And I was basically creating an image of the reverse way. I normally do it like this, black on white. Let's see. Mine was made for me by... Oh, that's great. Yeah, there's a lot of people who do profile pictures, which I think it's great. If you can find somebody that you like that can do that stuff for you, that's fantastic. There's a lot of people who do that. There was somebody I knew for a while who does... Well, they still do it as far as I know. I haven't talked to them in a while. I should. But this person did banners for YouTube channels. You know, because not everybody wants a good image. Not everybody can make one. It's not everybody's skill. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I know some people who are like, well, I should be able to make my own profile thing. I'm like, why? If your skill is in making the videos, then don't make the profile. Don't try to force yourself to do something, especially... Because a lot of people, if you're not doing this stuff all the time, why do you need to do it? So I know there's a lot of people who don't want to have somebody make their profile image. And I'm like, have somebody make it. You know, why not? I don't make the music for our show. I pay people who are musicians to make it. That's what they do. There's nothing wrong with that. I could attempt to get a keyboard and try to play something. It would sound like garbage. So why would I do that? Ah, that's okay. You can always do them later. You do it when you have the time to do it. You know, our commissions, and let me tell you, they will pile up on you. You'll sit there and go, oh, I'll never have that many to do. And that's exactly when you'll get a whole bunch all at the same time. I've had that luckily not very often, but I've had a few of those with the magic cards where suddenly 2 or 3 people, and I'm guessing it's because, you know, maybe the image of the card got posted somewhere. And so a bunch of people went, oh yeah, I want to get a thing. And that's fine. But, you know, since I don't work as quick as other people, I always tell I'm like, okay, well, I'll just be aware that you and 2 other people message me at the same time. So I'm going to go in order. And I'm not complaining. I'm never going to complain about people wanting my work, but I'm just, you know, I can't do multiple cards at the same time. I don't find that I work very well that way. And I don't want to just do that because I can get more done. I'd rather every card really... Oh, thanks, Timber Dragon. Have a good night. Thank you for stopping by. And have fun on your trip. Have a great trip. Have a wonderful, safe, and extremely fun trip. Wherever you're going, enjoy your time there. But yeah, I don't multitask very well, and I don't want people to think... I don't want somebody to, feel like their card got, less attention. I just don't... it just doesn't... I don't like the idea of it. So I'd rather do fewer cards at a time or space them out rather than take the risk of doing that. And that's one of the reasons why... and I don't know if most artists, I'll be honest, I've never really asked because I'm kind of like, some people don't like talking about this stuff. But at least for me, when somebody commissions something from me and they pay me, now I'll get the payment up front. Before I start a card, I'm like, all right, I got to see the payment come through. But I will not deposit that payment until that card is done and it's delivered to the person and they tell me that they like it. So that's just how I operate. Man, I'm thirsty. Where are we? 36 minutes. Okay. So that's another reason where it's like, that's another kind of insurance thing for me that I do where I'm like, you know what? Don't extract any of that money until this person has their card and they're happy with it. And that way also, if for some reason, if something were to happen where I'm like, man, I'm not going to be able to get this card done in the time, I want the flexibility to be able to tell somebody, hey, it's going to take me a little longer. If that's something that you don't want to wait, which it's their option. If they don't want to wait, then that way I can just refund the money right away, and there's no problems there. I assume everybody does that, but you know what? I don't know. Maybe that's not the standard way. I gotta get this right. This just isn't looking. There it goes. There we go. Now we got it. Just gonna keep this slim in here. I was fattening that pipe a little too much right there. There we are. So that's generally how I handle it. Actually felt really bad. There was somebody recently who wanted a card and we were all set for it, and I'll keep this very vague because I don't want to name names or anything like that. And then they had a death in the family, and I felt really bad because they said, I really want the card, but I've got other things going on right now. And I'm like, look, you don't have to explain this to me. I'm like, you take care of whatever you got to take care of. Don't worry. I said, I've got a card put aside for you. Whenever it makes sense, then you just contact me. I've had a couple like that, which I hate to say, a couple where people had things come up, and it's, it's been deaths a couple of times. I'm just like, it's terrible. So I'm like, whatever. Cards are not going anywhere. I'm not running low. If I was, I would still hold one for somebody like that. I'm not going to, but fortunately I'm still good on cards. So I'm like, the cards will be there when you're ready. Just take care of the stuff you got to take care of. This is only a card and it's not going to go anywhere. So don't worry about it. End of that did not look right. Let's extend it. There we go. I want it to look like it's all one line, which is not always easy, but try to do it. So yeah, that's unfortunately there's been a couple of those, but it's just life, I guess. What are you gonna do? It's a shame. I hate it. You don't ever want to hear about anything like that. Actually, that was something with my wife too. One of the people that she had in her classes, car accident and last week and died, and it's just like, man, just you don't know. So tell people you care about them. That's all I can say, because you really don't know what's going to happen. Things change really quick. Ooh, no, that can't be like that. That can't go like that. Let's bring this around, and let's swirl that out like that. That I like. That's got some movement to it. That's good. Because, yeah. And then I saw that the Pope died, which I had just seen that the Pope had done like an Easter blessing yesterday. But then again, the Pope has had health problems for a while, so I wasn't as surprised as I think some people were, because the Pope was 88 years old. 88 with the, number of health things he's had in recent years. It's not really a surprise. I mean, I guess it's one of those things it is. I shouldn't say it like it's not a surprise. It is a surprise. You never expect it necessarily. It's like everything in life. You don't, even if you know it's a possibility, you don't necessarily expect it. But right after, it's usually after somebody's been sick for a while, not somebody who just went out and blessed a whole bunch of people. But like I said, 88, health problems. I think they probably had at least some idea it was a possibility. Maybe not today, as of this recording, or as of this stream. They probably did not expect it like that, but they probably knew it wasn't a remote possibility of happening soon. I guess I'll put it that way. But yeah, that's all the news has been about today. Is Pope Francis. So, as I said, was not a young man, lived a good long time. Of all the people in the world, probably somebody who I think is prepared for something as much as anybody can be prepared. So, we'll see who is next and what name they choose. That's always the interesting part to me, to be honest, is not who it is necessarily. But I'm always curious about the names who they choose to name themselves after, I guess is the way to say it. That's always the interesting part to me. Because it does tell you about their character and who they, in theory, are trying to pattern themselves after. Or who they respected greatly. It's one of the interesting things about it, is that they get to choose the name of someone. So, I don't know how fast that happens. I know it doesn't take long. There will be another Pope soon. Certainly, if you're not watching, or if you're not watching this live, by the time you watch this, there will be another Pope, I would think, unless something really weird happens. So, we'll see who it shall be. Got to go to the Vatican when I was in Italy. That was a very interesting place. You definitely get the sense right away that it's essentially its own country with its own army and everything. If you didn't know that, yes, the Vatican exists as its own I don't think they consider it a country. Actually, let's take a quick look, shall we? Give my hand a rest anyway. Let's see. Vatican. Vatican City. Let's take a look here. Vatican City. Here we go. Oh, it is considered its own state. The Vatican City State is a landlocked country, city-state, microstate, and enclave surrounded by and historically a part of Rome in Italy. It became independent from Italy in 1929. It is a distinct territory with full ownership, exclusive dominion, and sovereign authority and jurisdiction of the Holy See, which of course is the Pope. Fascinating. Yeah. Like, you do get that sense when you're in there. You do feel like you are not necessarily leaving Italy, but definitely entering a place that is different from every place else that you've been. So, yeah. Fascinating. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. I mean, there's just, as you would expect, there's just art and sculpture everywhere. I mean, it's just everywhere. Italy in general is like that. You just get this sense that art and culture are just this sort of in the DNA of the city. It's just magnificent. If you ever get the chance, you should go. I would recommend going to the 3 cities that I went to, which were Rome, Florence, and Venice. Of the 3, Florence was my personal favorite. I loved Florence. Don't get me wrong, Rome had the Colosseum, which was excellent. And Venice is a beautiful city, especially at night, because there's no cars. There's no cars in Venice. It's all just water taxis and, like bikes, and that's it. But there's no cars, so there's no traffic noise. It's amazing. You don't think about it until you don't hear it. I mean, at all. So, there's like mopeds and stuff, but you don't hear a lot of that. At night, you just walk around. There's lights everywhere. It's just beautiful. You hear the water all the time, kind of just going in the background. It's great. I don't think I've ever slept better in my entire life, more easily, quickly, and smoothly than I did in Venice. Probably not. It was just fantastic. So if you ever get the chance, you should go. Someday I'm going to go back. My paralyzing fear of flying might stop me, though. I was not as afraid of flying back then as I am now. So. Oh, no, they're not. Hello, Mr. Ant Pruitt, whose podcast, Everyday People, can be found at antpruitt.com/podcast, and you should go listen to it. And who has a Patreon, patreon.com/antpruitt, that you should support and buy some of his prints. #marketing. No, these are actually cables that are coming off what will be a robot horse. So they do look like noodles, admittedly. Yes, they do now, because I have to draw every one of them individually. And before I start segmenting them, yes, you're correct. They do look like noodles. That's true. And, yeah, they do. They do look like noodles. Can't get around that. Cables do look like noodles before they have any definition. So, yeah, not the... No way I can really contradict that, I have to admit. But welcome. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. And I have to send you feedback on your most recent show, because you were talking about the Adobe AI stuff in the video, which is very impressive. I think that's actually a really useful tool for a lot of people, because I certainly know I've had to cover up some awkward transitions in videos more than a few times, especially when I decide to stumble over words because I don't, script anything. Oh, that looks terrible. Let's bring that out a little bit and around. Come back. Yeah, that's fine. So, yeah, I saw a notice. I have to admit, like you, I'm so disinterested in all this stuff at this point that I hear the letters AI now, and I'm just automatically, it turns to white noise for me. It really does. It's not because I'm against any of it even. I'm just so sick of hearing about it. It's just everything now. Everything is... I was watching earlier, the Yankees were on, and lost the bums. But anyway, and so in between, because I watch it on the MLB app, the MLB.TV app, which opening day crashed for almost everybody, so that made everybody feel like they really got their money's worth out of their subscription. That's unbelievable. It's like they started doing this yesterday. Anyway, they have these things in between, and one of them is they advertise their own kind of in-house show called MLB Central. They have hosts, perfectly, gorgeous people, male and female, look like they came out of a Vogue catalog. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm in the same regarding AI, at least with Adobe Ozone, it saves me that. Yeah, the thing you talked about with finding clips, that was what I was, and I will have the feedback. That is amazing. That is truly one of the first things and I didn't see that when in the pop-up, because I think I just closed it so quickly. I'm like, I don't care. But that sounds really interesting. But anyway, they have this thing, and they got all their pretty people that are, analyzing baseball and whatever. And then they have one where there's they're like, oh, let's highlight the people who are behind the scenes that help us make this program what it is, right? Now, at first, you think, oh, that's nice. They're recognizing, that line looks like crap. They're recognizing the people behind the camera. That's unusual, because normally it's all about the pretty people in front of the cameras. So at first you're like, oh, that's nice. And then sure enough, they show these people who are all very staged. Whether they're actual employees or not, I actually am skeptical. They could be, but they sure all looked. They looked like they were hiring you, Mr. Pruitt. Let's put it that way. They were awfully smooth people. They did not look like just an average person to me. So maybe they just got the employees that they thought looked the prettiest, or they hired ringers. I'm not sure. I don't know. I didn't see a disclaimer at the bottom saying, people portraying actual employees. I'm just saying maybe they told the right people to come in on the right day. Who knows? In any event, it really doesn't matter, because as soon as I saw that, I went, oh, this isn't really about these people. What is this? And sure enough, they're all wearing headsets and they're like, oh yeah, they're able to bring you this thanks to Zoom, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, of course, powered by AI, whatever. I'm like, of course it's an ad. It couldn't actually be something where we point out, because most people aren't aware, that a lot of the stuff that you see is not necessarily brought to you by the people that you're looking at. There's a bunch of people in the background who are doing a lot of work and never get seen, and often aren't appreciated. And what is it? It's an ad. It's an ad. It can't just be them taking 60 seconds to say thank you to all the technical people. Yeah, well, I mean, you know what? You would have gotten paid, so who cares? But I'm like, this is one of these really gross ads to me, because it's just so blatant, and it just feels disrespectful to me. Don't say you're going to appreciate the people behind the camera and then it's an ad. You can work those two things in together. Just throw the Zoom logo up in the background. You know what I mean? It was just all about that. It wasn't about these people. It really wasn't. It wasn't actually recognizing the technical talent that was involved. And I think that's really scummy. It bothers me. It bothers me because these are people who are largely unappreciated. And we all know, if you have any idea of how any type of production is done, which you do, that these are often people who don't get recognized by most people in most of the industries where they are honestly the most instrumental. And that's what bothered me about it. Like, you can do an ad. There's ways to do ads without it just being, I don't know, if exploitative, without it being that type of thing. It bothers me. Yeah, I know, you've mentioned it. I've seen you posting about it over on your Patreon, patreon.com/AmpPruitt. I've seen you post that stuff. And I think you did put it on the other stuff too. I think you did put it on, I think I saw it on Blue Sky too. But yeah, that's what I mean. It's a team effort. This is the thing that people often forget, is that so much of what we look at, whether it's movies, TV, even stuff, especially the really fancy YouTube channels where they have sets and everything, that's not usually done just by the talent that's in front. Sometimes there are people who do that. There are those cases, but a lot of them, especially the really, really polished ones, they generally have a team of people. I gotta extend it further. There we go. Bring it around. Okay. So that's what I mean. And especially MLB. These people, I just hit the iPad with this pencil. Okay. The MLB has money. They could have actually made an ad about the background people. They're not, barely hanging on. That's what I mean. That's the thing that bothers me. It's just that type of thing. Okay, that looks terrible. I just realized that looks really bad. That does not look evenly spaced. Hold on. So and they've played it a couple of times now. And now I just heckle it. I just heckle it because, it's annoying to me. And like I said, the MLB, I don't like the fact that teams have to sell their stuff through MLB. Same with the NFL. It's all the same garbage. It annoys me. These outfits have so much money. I mean, don't get me wrong, the players do too, but it's... I'm not going to start ranting about money in sports. We'll be here for 4 hours, and I won't say anything anybody doesn't already know anyway. So... Oh, good. Spam. Just what I need. Ay, these people. All right, hold on. That's on Twitch, right? I think I can ban that person. Good grief. Ban! You're gone, baby. Could also have been a union reason as to why Grip and Gaff wasn't yet. Yeah, it could be. Sure. It's possible. Like I said, MLB runs lots of things. they could do a very short thing saying, hey, you know, we just want to take we want to take a minute to thank the people who bring you all this stuff and make sure that all the transitions and every play that you see and all this stuff, they could take 2 minutes to do that in the course of a 2 or 3 hour ball game is all I'm saying. And instead, what do we get? A Zoom ad. So probably I'm one of the few people who even cares. Most people probably don't even notice, but it still bothers me. Because I think a lot of times the people, like I said, who are as instrumental, talent matters, it absolutely does. You have to have somebody who's not a train wreck in front of the camera, that's for sure. Oh, my podcast will certainly give you evidence of how bad that can be. But when you have the combination right, those are the people who last. That's the stuff you want to see. That's the stuff that goes further. And a lot of times those background people, and some of them don't want to be recognized. That's okay. Some people like working in the shadows. I'm one of those people. I don't necessarily really like being out front of anything. I really don't. But, you know, it's nice to understand that somebody recognizes you. Now and then, it ain't the worst thing in the world. So, but I have many problems with MLB and baseball these days. I mean, why should I expect anything from an outfit that pretends that umpires are accountable for making terrible calls, and yet they never are? Ugh. Umpire report card, what a joke. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to make this into an indictment of baseball, because I actually do like baseball, so I complain, but I watch it. In fact, Giants have been on for a little while. I will check that out when I'm done here. Where are we? Well, we're almost up to an hour, so let's see. How's the iPad doing? Oh, yeah, it's warm in that one area. So, actually, you know what? I'll do some cleanup on this. And that's probably a good place to bring the stream to a close for this evening, because I always aim for about an hour so that the iPad doesn't melt from being on for this long. Because as I always say, I know Apple will tell you that, oh, no, the tolerance, I'm trusting that. When something electronic is warm for a while, I tend to default to that's not good. You know, that means the thing's working hard, and the harder you work something, unless you have the disposable cash to replace it immediately, I try to extend the life of my electronics and make them last as long as possible. I know that's not what anybody who sells these things wants. They just want you to buy another one right away. But it's not only wasteful, but it tends to be expensive. Let's see. I'm a BTS kind of guy. Just got shit done guy. Or get shit done guy. Others think the opposite of me. Yeah. You know what? I think the way you do it is the right way to do it, because when everybody on a production, when anybody anywhere, when somebody has a genuine appreciation for the totality of how something comes together, not only being professional in front of the camera, but being grateful for the people behind it, I think those people notice that. I think that's just a good way to approach most things in life, so that people have a positive memory of you. And that way, when something comes up, and let's say they were going to go with somebody else and it doesn't work out for some reason, they might be, well, you know what, this guy was good to work with. Why don't we see if he's free? Or that's how you eventually end up being the first choice to begin with. Just a good idea. So, yeah, I think you're doing it the intelligent way. Myself, me knowing nothing, but that just makes sense to me. You know, it's kind of a good way to be in life in general, I think. Be appreciative. It tends to work out better for you and the people you're around. You know? All right, let's see. I guess I'm going to go ahead and do this. Oh, wait, did I do that? No, I did that wrong. This is the tricky part about looking at this stuff up close. Especially when you don't have great eyes to begin with, which I do not. I'm glad I'm nearsighted, at least. If I was farsighted, this would be a real nightmare. But at least I can just stick my face right on top of the iPad and see what I'm doing, because I can see better up close. But oh boy, this is a mess in here. Okay, so I have to follow that one. Okay, did that one right. Hold on, I gotta follow this one back. Okay, got it. It's in here. I am positive there's a smarter way to do this than the way I'm doing it, but oh, why start being smart now? You know, I just do things the way that I do them, whether they're intelligent or not is secondary consideration. Always has been, always will be. Okay, let's see. All right, let's do that. And then that one is there. I can somewhat get a rhythm of this if I'm bouncing from one of these to the next one. Hopefully this isn't giving anybody vertigo or anything. I know it's close up and I'm moving quick. It's the only bad part about the way that I do things is I don't know if it's necessarily... I don't know if I'm going to give people motion sickness. I really am not intending to, but this is just how I work, so I don't know any other way to do it. That's okay. Let's clear that noodle. I'll use Mr. Pruitt's term for it. Clear this noodle out. That noodle's clean. Okay. I will overlap. Oh, wait a minute. No, I did that one. Okay. I thought I cleaned too much out of that one. See, this is also the ADD thing, where it's, or ADHD, whichever it is. I will be finding that out this year, because I'm going to have them see what's going on with me. Figure out why my brain works the way that it does. You know, I'm only waiting half my life to figure it out. Whatever, better late than never, I guess. But, yeah, I just bounce from thing to thing here. Trying to retain... What is that? I see that. Where is that? There's a piece of something there. What is that? Where did that come from? Hold on, I see it. It's going to bug me if I can't figure it out. There it is. Got it. It's right there. Boy, it's so small. Almost missed it. Almost. But I saw it. I saw you. I saw you. Okay. Okay. Wait. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's almost easier for me not to focus on one thing for too long. Even though, I mean, don't get me wrong, this is all one image, more or less, but it's sort of, I sort of get lost in something if I'm looking at it for too long. I kind of have to bounce in pieces, which will annoy me later because I'll be like, oh, I missed one little segment of this thing. Well, it's because I didn't stay in that same area and just do the whole thing. But for whatever reason, it's really, I mean, I was just reading articles off the internet. I almost have to have 4 tabs open and keep bouncing between the stories. Like, I can't make it through one. So there's clearly something going on between my ears that is causing me to be that all over the place. But it'd be nice to have a word to put to it, whatever it is. Not that it matters at this point in my life. It's not like I haven't been like this forever, but, you know, like I said, it's as much about knowing what's going on as it is knowing something's going on. It's sort of comforting to be like, oh yeah, okay, that's what it is. Got it. You know, it ain't just me. Like, there is actually something happening here. Whoa. Whoa. What did my computer just do? No, it's still... Oh, did it freeze? Yeah, I think it froze. Hold on a minute. Let me see. Give me a second here. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, hold on. Hold on, because I'll just show you this before I'm... Okay, it just... I see what it did. It dropped the... Okay, it should come back in a second. Give me a minute. That's another signal that it's like, all right, wrap it up. Okay, so let me turn that off. You seen it again? Yes. Okay, well, I'm almost done anyway. But just because I'll push the opacity back to where it should be, and that way you can see it as it's intended. But that's what I mean. See, even the computer's like, all right, enough. Shut up now. All right, let's see. That goes there. And I think, yeah, I think we're good. Let's push this back up. Yeah, see? That'll work out. I mean, there's a lot left, but you can see it. You can see it where it's going. Eventually, that all those little lines, they will pay off. They will. They will. All right, since it already froze once, before I risk it freezing entirely, which it has done before, let me do that. There we are. And thank you for coming by. Thank you, Mr. Pruitt, for having the time to stop by. I know you are busy. And I know my time zone, my times of starting and everything. My times of starting, there's English. Huh? That's great. My times of starting. Good grief. How is it that I can put together sentences at all? When I do my streams, it's not always the best time for everybody. So, thank you everybody for being here. Go check out Mr. Pruitt at antpruitt.com. I'm always, always, always happy to send people. Yeah, hashtag noodles, I know. It should be, if I titled my streams, that's what the title would be. But, well, thanks everybody for being here if you were here live. If you're watching this later, that's great too. I appreciate anybody watching anytime at all. And as I always say, go find a creator that you enjoy and support them. I'm not talking about myself. I'm fine. Go find a creator who needs your support. If you can give them money, give them money. If you can repost something of theirs, do that. If you can just say something nice about what they're doing, take the 5 minutes to do it, because I guarantee you they will appreciate it. And you never know what kind of day somebody's having. So just saying, hey, I really like this thing you did. That's maybe worth more than money to some people some days. I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody needs money. But for some people, if you get them at the right moment, just saying something nice, you can do that in normal life too. But start with somebody who makes something you like, because you never know. You just never know. So, hey, thanks for being here, Mr. Pruitt. Thanks everybody who stopped by and said hello. And until the next stream,